Lionel, is that you?
There, I think I got it. Bruce?
Lionel?
Bruce?
Yes.
Where the hell you been?
I was out of country for 6 weeks.
Did you put in for vacation?
Yeah. Last year I sent you a memo, be gone for 6 weeks. We said, yeah, whatever. And then ran out down the hall doing something else.
I think I forgot.
So I figured it was okay.
Yeah.
Didn't follow up anymore.
Right.
I got the permission. I said, that's it. Good enough for me.
Yeah, that's all you did. Yeah.
That's it.
The English teacher said, yeah. And then you took off.
That's right. That's exactly how it worked.
Have you ever heard of a guy named Chris Costello?
Who was Bud Abbott's buddy, right? No,
Yeah.
That was Lou.
That was Lou Costello.
Who's on first?
Exactly. Chris Costello is the guy that owns JL Innovations.
Yes.
And
they produce a whole bunch of different model lines, or own a bunch of different model lines.
Yes, they own a bunch, but primarily, I think, at this stage, it's JL Innovations. I think that's primarily what's happening right now. Anyways, Chris owns JL Innovations, and he also owns the Erie business car.
Yes.
Number one.
Yes, he's been quite happy about that, and he was outlining his trials and tribulations of getting it from somewhere near French Lick, Indiana, to close to where he lives.
French Lick, Indiana. That's right. Yeah, I really struggled with finding a picture suitable for this podcast. It's.
Well, you looked up French Lick and it gave you something else?
No, I was looking for pictures of his Erie business car, Erie number 1.
Yes.
I was actually doing tomorrow. There's an interview with Otto Vondrak, the editor of Railroad Model Craftsman.
Yes.
And he talks about it's primarily about Doyle McCormick and his nickel plate PA.
Right.
But somewhere in that conversation, I remember him talking about Erie 2 and Erie 3, and then I said, "Hey, Chris Costello has Erie 1."
Yes.
And this is a big heavyweight Pullman passenger car.
It is indeed.
And you know what else?
If I remember talking to him before about it, he said that he's been on it, had encounters with ghostly beings.
Oh, really? I never heard that part.
Yeah, we used to talk about he was in there one night, they were playing poker or something like that, and we're kind of giving him a rough time, but then they let him go, and yeah.
I don't remember that story. I think I'd remember that story.
Yeah.
So Chris was in the car, and there was ghosts.
He was in the car, and there was ghosts in the car. There, if I recall, he said they were having a poker game.
And where are they playing? Texas Hold'em?
I don't know. I don't remember. It's all I remember. He said he's had a couple ghostly encounters on that car.
Do you believe in ghosts?
Geez, I'm not sure anymore what I believe in.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good answer, because that's about where I'm at too.
I don't know. Is there something out there? Perhaps. Do I know? No. Does anybody know? No.
Yeah, that's right. Here's where I fall in on that. I'm convinced we're not here. There's something out there. There is something out there.
I'm sure that just the odds of us being alone in a vast universe are pretty remote. There's got to be other lives out there somewhere.
I'm pretty much fall under the Men in Black theory that we're living on a little pendulum on a
pendant around the pug's neck.
Yeah, pendant around I think it was around a cat's neck.
Was it a cat or a pug?
No, a pug was there, but it wasn't. The pendant was on a cat's neck.
Ah, okay.
And I'm kind of like that. Like it. You know what I always think, and I really had this. I was in Manitoba a couple of times, about 100 miles west of Winnipeg.
Yeah.
And you know what's out there?
A lot of flat land.
A whole lot of nothing.
Yes, exactly. And then you go a little bit further into Saskatchewan, there's a whole bunch more than nothing.
Yeah, and then it's punctuated by 4,000 and 5,000 acre farms.
Yes.
Our buddy Josh Bowman, your friendly ag repair.
Josh's ag repair.
Yeah, do you remember your little song you did?
Oh,
I don't worry, I recorded it.
Oh, beautiful! Because I kind of remember it, but not.
That's how a lot of things.
It's one of those things that came on. I figured it's recorded, and that's all I need to do. Procure tractor, get her done, take it over to Josh Bowman.
That's how a lot of things are born on the old AML network. They're blurted out during a podcast. I mean, he's got a 110-acre farm, which is considered sizable on southern Ontario. But
yes, it is.
Out there, out in the middle of Manitoba and Saskatchewan, that's considered your front yard.
Yeah.
Anyways, how did we get talking about? Oh, yeah. So one night...
You're saying you're out west of Manitoba.
Right. Winnipeg. One night,
I think you're out there in the land of Lionels, were you not?
Yeah, the land of Lionels, yeah. So I was out there, and I'm standing... in about 12 midnight on a perfectly clear night in July. And I'm looking up at the sky, at the stars. And I mean, there's no lights around. So, I mean, it's a beautiful view.
Absolutely spectacular.
And I'm thinking to myself, man, like, what is it? What is this? This thing called Earth. Like, you look out and you're thinking to yourself, we are like nothing but a speck of dust on somebody's dresser.
Exactly. I had those thoughts when I was working up at Fort McMurray when the oil sands mine. I was working night shifts doing some pumping tests for a project, and this is in February. And I step outside, turn off the light, the shelter we had, step outside, look at the sky. It was just absolutely spectacular. There were some lights way far away, but it didn't affect. But and the northern lights, and I just had to go, yeah, I'm insignificant in all this.
And you know what I thought? You know what I thought immediately after my deep thoughts of looking at the sky. Man, this would be great with some Rapido trains.
Yes, Rapido trains, your fast track to model railroading fun.
Rapido trains, your fast track to model railroading fun.
You got to get polished up again. Now you sound like Kelly. You're
Rapido trains, your fast track to model railroading fun.
Well, no, I say Rapido trains, and then you repeated. You went, yes, Rapido trains.
Oh, yes, that's right. I just supposed to say your fast track to model railroading fun.
Exactly.
Apologies, Jason. I've been away for 7 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah. I when we started this.
Speaking of our friends at Rapido trains, your fast track to model railroading fun. Did you see the recent announcement that they've teamed up with Railroad Model Craftsman to bring back the Kit Bash?
Yes, yeah. A $500 gift certificate.
Yes.
Usable for Rapido trains.
Your fast track to model railroading fun.
If it's N, if it's H-O, the fast track is Rapido.
And they got lots of cool stuff you could spend $500 on.
Oh, yeah. You could buy yourself a couple of, put that down towards a couple of those GE 44 tonners.
Yes, indeed.
When I started this introduction, I really didn't know if I had anything to talk about, and we have now killed 8 minutes and 30 seconds.
Perfect. Can I just throw back to the universe again? Back in university days, this would be mid to late 70s. A number of times the boys and I would be sitting around having a few beers, and this would be back in the days when there's still stubbies, not the long necks. For those playing at home in Canada of a certain age will remember the stubbies. But we used to think, like, what if we're just like atoms in some guy's table leg somewhere?
Well, that's what I said. What if we're just a speck of dust on somebody's dresser?
Exactly.
And it could very well be that.
We don't know.
Deep Thoughts.
That's all we know. We're Deep Thoughts by Lionel Strang.
Deep Thoughts by Stuart Smalley. Isn't that who did Deep Thoughts?
Oh, I forget. That was
Saturday Night
one
Live.
On SC. Is it Saturday Night Live or SCTV?
I can't remember now. You know what? Jack Andy.
There you go, Jack Andy. By Jack Andy.
10 most, Deep Thoughts by Jack Handy. And Deep Thoughts, short, funny observations. Hang on here. Let's see. We go to Wikipedia. I'm working the Google on the internet machine.
Beautiful.
And you know what that means?
It means
time for
some elevator music?
Yeah, time for elevator music. SNL.
Oh, that's SNL. Okay.
Yeah, Deep Thoughts with Jack Handy. Now we killed 10 minutes and just so. Beautiful. Anyways, yes. We got to keep moving because it's a long interview. So we're talking to Chris Costello of JL Innovations about his business car, the Erie 1.
Yeah. And he has a Facebook page for that as well.
Yeah, he does. I'm actually looking at it. It's called the Erie Business Car Society.
There you go.
If you go on Facebook and look up Erie Business Car Society, boom, you'll be there, and you can look at it.
Indeed, and it's worth a look because he's got lots of interesting pictures there, and then taking it from what it was to getting the paint on it, and word if he had the right paint, not enough of the right paint, and it ended up looking very nice.
He painted it by hand.
Yes, he did indeed.
That's a little hard to accept. Okay, that's it. We're done.
Subway chimes, go.
This podcast is going to be fantastic as well. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you.
Am I on the right microphone?
Yep.
Chris, can you hear me?
I can hear you wonderfully.
Oh, yeah? Push your microphone down. Yeah, push it down just a little bit.
Do you want me like...
Yeah, like there's good.
Like that?
Yeah.
That actually is working.
That's why we turned the cameras off.
Yeah, that is why we turned the cameras off. I don't need to see that anymore.
Oh, God.
That's actually working. It's that particular headset is a great headset because the sound.
Oh, no, it's oops. Okay, there we go.
Here we go.
Yeah, I tried it out the other night with our NMRA chat, and I was like, how does it sound? Is it sounding good? And like, oh yeah, it sounds great. It's like, all right, cool.
Yeah, well, it sounds perfect now.
Good.
What's the NMRA chat?
Our Division 12 has a chat every Thursday night, and we just get on there and bullshit.
Oh, wow. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Now somebody's going to be mad at me because you said the word bullshit on the air.
Oh, did I already say? Oh. Are we already on the air?
Yeah, we've been on the air for an hour and a minute and 20 seconds.
That means the bullhorn's going to go, right?
It depends on where this ends up. I don't know if this will be on the free channel. If it's on the free channel, we'll have to do an introduction because we didn't really start the show properly.
That's true.
And if it's on the Patreon channel, we'll have to do an introduction because we didn't really start the show properly. So what we have here is we have either a segment that'll be on a variety hour. We have a complete show. We don't know until we get to the end. But the voices you hear are none other than Chris Costello of JL Innovative. Is that right?
Yes.
Congratulations.
That might be the first time you got it right.
I know. I think it is the first time I ever got it right.
Yeah.
And he's also the proud owner of the Wandering Erie Erie 1.
Correct.
It's a passenger car. Where is it, Chris?
Right now, it's in the woods, hiding out.
But you can tell me because nobody's listening.
Yeah,
nobody's listening. It's not in Oregon.
It is not in Oregon. It's also not in New York. No, it's in Ohio.
Is it really?
It is in Ohio. It is no longer on the Norfolk Southern. People are going to have to look this up, but it's in Carson, Ohio right now.
So we're going to have to give some people some background because, as you know, Chris, you've been on the podcast enough, and certainly Kelly knows of this. We're not doing a very good job of podcasting because we're just kind of jumping all around. So,
well, that's the best way to do it, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So what we're talking about, we're going to come back and get to the meat of that. But so the other voice you hear is none other than the modeler simply known as Kelly.
Hello.
And Kelly, before we formally get started, can you help me with one particular item?
If I'm going to get blamed, sure.
Yeah, okay. Can you tell me if this is the first podcast since the last podcast?
Well, let me do some cipher in here. I'm going to carry that. Yes, it is.
So, Chris,
but I didn't do well in math, so hopefully it's right.
I didn't do well in school. I did okay. The problem was I did just good enough to to always pass, which seemed to annoy the crap out of the teachers.
Isn't that the goal?
That's kind of where I was at, like I wasn't picked to be, the next great world leader. And I thought, okay, well, what's the pass mark for this particular?
Yep.
Anyways.
D is for diploma.
D is for diploma. Yeah, we need something for C minus. What is it? What do they say? The world was built by C minus students.
Yep.
Competent.
C is for competent. Yeah.
Yeah.
And C minus is for slightly less competent.
And B is for brown noser.
There you go. Wow.
And I'm not going to say what A
I was just going to say, I think I know what A is, but we're not going to say that.
Well, I've already got in trouble for saying a bad word. So.
Yeah, you're already in trouble. So, okay, the two things I want to talk to you about, Chris, are JL Innovative, because we haven't talked about that for a dog's age.
Nope.
Does it have a Facebook page?
It does. It's www.jlinnovative.com.
Is that a Facebook page, or is that?
Oh, I'm sorry. That's the web page. Oh. It does have a Facebook page. It's also JL Innovative.
JL Innovative. I think I can spell this. Let me see if I can get this.
There's days I can't spell it, so you're doing better than me.
I didn't get it. JL Innovative. Well, I'll go to the. You know what? I'll go to the website. Why am I not getting it?
I don't know. What's your problem?
JLINNOVATIVE. How do you spell innovative?
Say that again. JLINNOVATIVE.
Oh, there's another N. There's another N.
Yeah. I guess we're JL Innovative Design.
And I found it. Now I found it.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
That's always one of the most exciting parts of the podcast is me trying to work the internet. Holy mackerel! Are these April 14th? There's these pallets and Jack, the pallet mover. We call them. What did we call them? Skids, something or other. When I was
skids, yeah.
Jack's skid jack. That's what we call them.
Okay.
Pallet.
I've always heard of pallet jack, but I mean,
same thing. Yeah.
Same. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Does that ever look sharp? Holy mackerel! They're sweet.
Yeah, those are so the pallet jack itself, the red part that you're seeing on the screen, which I know the people at home can't see, but that's cast pewter. And then the handle is a 3D printed part.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's actually two pieces.
Yeah, and they come separate because there's just no way that would survive the packaging.
Okay.
So you have to paint the handle black because it's I usually have a gray resin that I print with.
Okay.
And then just glue it on there.
And what does that sell for?
I think I'm charging like what, $11.50 or something for that.
$11.50. It says right there.
I don't know.
Does it?
Yeah, top of the page. If you click on the picture.
Yeah, look at that. At N scale, it's $11.50.
Yeah.
And HO is
$11.50.
S is
and S is $13.50. Nope, $13.50.
Oh, okay. Now it's and O. Do you have one in O yet?
I do not have one in O yet because I have not gotten a successful crate to cast yet.
Okay. So how did you get the idea for the pallet jack?
Actually, one of my friends, he actually came in the one day and said, "You should do pallet jacks." And I go, that's a great idea because, somebody else was on one of the detail pages had a pallet jack. I'm assuming it was probably from Walthers or something like that they had broke. So I was like, we'll see. We'll make it. And, then I decided to put the pallet in there and figured throw a crate in there too. But,
so does it come as a kit? Like there's a pallet jack and a skid and a crate?
Yes. So the crate, the pallet, and the pallet jack all come together.
Wow.
The pallet is wood and it's assembled.
And it's assembled.
So you don't even have to assemble that.
Wow.
The pallet. So like I said, the pallet handle,
right.
You have to paint and just glue onto the pallet. But otherwise, that's the only thing you have to do.
And the crate will be selected at random from surplus crates we have on hand. That's a great price. Yeah. That's a spectacular price for a pallet, a pallet jack, a skid, and a crate. $11.50. You can't beat that.
Yeah, I thought it was a great price.
Have you sold any?
Yeah, quite a few actually.
Well, there you go. So it must be a great price then.
Yeah. Not as many as I'd like, but at the same time, it's the more I sell, the more I have to make.
So when exactly did you take over JL Innovative?
That would have been April of 2020.
Oh, that's right. You did it right at the start of the pandemic.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I was when you started the Patreon chat, I was out in Minnesota, sitting in the hotel room, and I'd log on each night.
Oh, that's right too. Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you remember what I said to you offline when you told me you had bought JL Innovative and the pandemic had just hit? Do you remember what I said to you?
There were so many things. One of them, you're nuts. But
that's what I think I said. I was a little more succinct. I went, "What are you, nuts?"
Yeah, that'd be about right.
So he was transparent, but he wasn't accurate.
That's right. Well, no, he is definitely accurate on my my nuttiness.
All right. So but I remember in the early days. So how long? So that's so we're April 2020. So you've had it just over 3 years now.
Yep.
And you seem like you've made gigantic strides towards running the business. Like I know at first it was really a learning process, and now it seems like you've made gigantic strides.
Yeah, I mean, I've said it before, but I'll say it again. It's, when we took over, pandemic had just hit. So, we had to move the business from Minnesota, which was a big thing. But then we had to train ourselves on certain things. When we were out there learning, it was like, okay, I'll do, a few of these and a few of these, and I get the gist of what's going on. But then when you get back, it's like I'm on my own. I gotta, if I'm stuck, I gotta figure it out. So I had to, had the learning curve with myself, and then we couldn't hire anybody because of the pandemic, and then because model railroading is kind of a loner's hobby to begin with, everybody that's alone at home started buying more. Mm-hmm. So we just started, the orders that we were getting just kept, it just kept escalating to the point that we were. Finally, when we were able to hire people, they were, it was, do you want me to work today? It's like, yes, I want you to work today. I want you to work as much as you want to work. And, they were a little bit worried about, getting overtime. I was like, no, you work as much as you want, And, we're finally getting to that point that we're kind of calming down, but, now I can really start bringing out more products.
Don't you owe me dinner?
September, I owe you dinner.
Oh, in September you'll owe me dinner.
Yeah, but you also owe me dinner because you said at Springfield I was going to make $10,000.
Oh yeah,
and we didn't hit that. We did not hit that mark.
Were you close?
I think we were shy, maybe 2,000.
So you still did really well then.
Oh yeah, we did. Yeah, we were, compared to the year before, we did almost twice as much as the year before.
So did you do way more than you thought you would?
Not really. I think I was kind of expecting about that, because what he had done previous years was right around there. So, but we're once again, we were going off of all old products. The only thing at that point that I had introduced was our light up soda machine, our modern light up soda machine.
Oh yeah, right.
Wow.
And so I owe you dinner.
You do owe me a dinner, but in September, because I probably won't have 6 months stock, I'll owe you a dinner. So
exactly. Yeah. And I know what I'm doing. I'm taking you to McDonald's before September.
Yeah.
Hey Kelly, did you have a question?
I was going to ask the question. You bought JL, right?
Yep.
And then but you have other on your categories. You got Durango Press.
Yes. So Durango Press and Railway Express Miniatures came with JL Innovative.
Oh, it came with it. Okay.
Yes. But then is JJL on there?
Yes. JJL models.
Yep. So that was something that my brother and I bought several years ago. They were doing resin, basically resin cabooses at the time. Mm-hmm. And we started off trying to make them. We got reasonably okay with it, and then we said, no, we're gonna revamp everything. And that's when I had started working pretty much nonstop at my day job. Mm-hmm. So it all got put to the side. And because of that, that's part of the reason we bought JL, because I wanted to get out of my job because I was working all the time.
Right.
and all out of town all the time. And I was so fed up with it. So yeah, that kind of got put to but now that's one of the other things that we're starting to work on again.
What is
Now,
it? Is it for you to work all the time?
Well, yeah, I'm getting to the point that we're leaving earlier at night. We're not working until midnight every night anymore. And so, I need to fill that void of time that I get to relax.
Were you going to say something there, Kelly?
No, I'm just looking at all the different, Jesus, the cylinders and the tools, and it's just this is all the stuff that I used to look on Walter's catalog. Say I got to get this when I start doing details.
Right.
The lawnmower set that's pretty cool too.
So what?
Well, we've got a website, Kelly. I ship to Oregon.
Yeah.
Don't worry. You'd be the only one. Isn't that a different country?
Pretty much. Well, I ship internationally.
Oh, okay. So overall, has the thing been? I sense like I've visited you a couple of times, mm-hmm. and the last time I visited, like I got the sense almost a year ago, the mm-hmm. last time I visited in person, and we had a lovely dinner that night.
Yes, we did.
I got the sense that you were well on your way to being pretty successful. Like overall, is it gone better than you were hoping?
Well, I think it's going a little slow right now.
Right.
But I think that has a lot to do with what the other stuff going on in the world. Mm-hmm. But overall, I think as long as we can get through this, we should be fine. Because like I said, I'm starting to do more products, more different details, more kits. So yeah, I think it's. I think anything that I'm experiencing, the slowdown I'm experiencing, I think is very temporary.
Well, yeah, everybody right now is experiencing a slowdown.
Yeah.
The inventory is back. They got extra mm-hmm. inventory and things like that. But that's just, the best advice I ever heard was from Jim Hediger, who is longtime editor at Model Railroader. And he said whenever a recession would come, the hobby would take off. Then the recession would be over. The hobby would slow down, but it would never slow down to the levels it was before the rush. And then mm-hmm. and then once it slowed down and people got through that, the rush, that came back to steady, solid business. He said it's always been there. The hobby's always been there. It's never ever gone away.
Yep. And I think it's always going to be there.
Yeah. So can I ask you this question? Can I ask you a personal question?
You can ask.
All right. So 3 years later, any regrets?
None.
Good.
My only regret is not having done it earlier.
Okay. Well, that's a good answer. Yep. And because I think you're enjoying you're having a lot of fun. I get this.
Oh my God, absolutally.
Yeah.
And as long as you're consistent and continue putting out good product and coming out with new product, you'll go places.
Yep. And and we've even over the past 3 years, we've improved the product. It's our labeling processes and everything. Even I've been making new molds and redesigning parts because they, quite honestly, some of the old ones suck. So we look at it and we say, I can do better. So I make a new one.
Yeah. That day I came and you showed me how you made the pewter barrels for S scale. I was like, I couldn't stop drooling over them. And how
those S scale ones.
Yeah,
those S scale ones look amazing. I love them.
They do. They absolutely like. Has our buddy Scott Lister bought any off you yet?
No. Wait. He bought some at Springfield.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
We should send him some more. I should buy some. I should buy some.
Well, I do plan on going to the S scale convention again.
Oh yeah, where is it this year?
I believe it's in Harrisburg.
Oh yeah, that's right. I think he's going to go to that.
Yeah. I think you're right. Yeah.
All right. Okay. What else should we ask him, Kelly, about the business?
Oh, have you done any 3D printing of parts?
Well, like I said, the handles on the pallet jacks are 3D printed.
Okay, yeah.
And then the soda machines,
mm-hmm.
The light up soda machines, those are all 3D printed now.
How did you do How did you do light up soda machines?
Well, it's a solid body for the machine,
right?
And then the face is clear. Well, is a clear resin that I 3D printed.
Right.
And then we put the labels on with our machine that labels.
I know that machine you have that puts labels on. So I'm looking at one now. I'm looking at it. I'm looking at it in N scale, and it looks spectacular.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're all amazing. I am incredibly happy with how those turned out.
So is it just N scale that you do of the sewing machine right now? Or
I have N, HO, and S.
Okay, great.
So how do I get to
unfortunately, I only have Pepsi right now, but that's just because we haven't gotten artwork for the other ones going.
Now, do you have to? I'm just asking the question out of curiosity. Do you have to get a license to use?
Don't ask that question.
Don't ask that question.
Well, I'm just thinking about how at Microtrains we're always, every time we print something, they're the first, we were going to do Hershey Kisses in a boxcar,
mm-hmm.
and they just said no to do it and to run around and trying to get the license to be able to use even the shape.
Yeah.
Was difficult, and they just said, "Okay, we're not doing it."
Don't ask the question.
Don't ask the question.
you can cut that out, Lionel.
All right, I'll cut that out. This will all be edited out.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
It's all Kelly's fault. That's it.
Oh yeah, it's Kelly's fault. Well, I mean, it's such a cool item.
It is, and how you light it up with what? A LED.
Little LED. Yep. They're they're not the teeny tiny ones, but they're So and we do that all. They're all pre-wired, and you just have to hook it up to electric.
I bet you one of the things you're going to do that's on your list of millions of things that you have to do is eventually upgrade your website, eh?
Oh yeah. Well, once that was. It's funny you say that because just the other day, we were talking about, we're getting close to being caught up, and I said, all right, when you're caught up, talk to my brother. We have to get that website fixed, so it's not as bad as it is.
Yeah.
So, but it's, it is an improvement over the website that the previous owner had.
Mm.
But this was done quickly just to get things working together. And
okay. So is this website completely separate from the one that you inherited? Like this is a redone one?
Yes, is it on a different server? I think it's on a different server. It's definitely different servers. It's the previous owner, he had a very antiquated server that he was on, and my understanding is they kept trying to get him to move off of it.
Right.
And he kept resisting. So when we got it, we're like, all right, let's see, how especially how the payment process worked. We upgraded, we sent it to a different server, so then we were able to process through PayPal and everything like that, because previously what he would do is he would actually get an email with all of the credit card information.
Oh, yeah.
And people didn't realize that's what was going on, but he had all that information was just in an email. Oh. And so then he typed everything in separately. So now, it's PayPal that everything gets processed through, which some people aren't happy with, but I will say PayPal is probably one of the most secure ways to buy at this point, because they're just so big, they have to follow all the rules, and they make sure they follow the rules.
I was going to ask a question. I can't remember what it was. Probably wasn't that good.
Must not.
I'm just happy for you. Like how many employees do you have now?
4 employees plus me and my brother.
Okay. Wow. And your brother works part-time, right?
Yeah, he works part-time. He has a full-time job. And then, so he comes in 6 or 7 o'clock at night after he's gotten home, eaten and everything like that. And he'll come in and we'll work until, well, right now we've been trying to leave about 10 p.m. So
what time do you get there in the morning?
I get here any time between 7 and 9 in the morning.
Wow.
So you're putting in like 12-hour days every day, almost 12 or 13-hour days.
Yep. But, I also, go over and I do stuff with the Rail Museum here in Salamanca.
Right.
And, and then, do silly things like chase train cars. So
yeah. We're gonna get to that.
Yeah.
But so 3 years of working 12-hour days,
7 days a week.
7 days a week, and no regrets.
No regrets. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I work 3 times the hours for a quarter of the pay, and I'm 100 times happier.
That's so good to hear.
Yeah.
There's nothing better than being self-employed. It can be scary at times, but at the end of the day, being self-reliant is a good thing, especially starting out young like you are. So what is the one thing 3 years later where you're kind of going, yeah, I didn't see that coming?
One thing I didn't see coming.
Or one thing that surprises you about being in the model railroad manufacturing business?
That's a good one, because I figured once I started producing model railroad stuff, I would hate model railroading.
Okay.
You know, but all it's done for me is it makes me want to do more.
Mm.
You know, and on top of that, I think part of what makes me want to do more is I have the tools to make things that are really nice.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a lot of people sit there and say, well, I wish I could do this, but I don't have the equipment to do it. Now I've got the equipment, so it's, you know, and I say that, you know, thinking, you know, most people don't have 3D printers, but a lot of people have 3D printers now. A lot of people can do that stuff, but
they could, but some people, their time is to do the design work and all the other stuff.
Yeah,
it's a daunting task, especially if you're just learning.
Yeah.
And then you have to wait. You know, depending on what you're printing out, you have to wait to see if it does turn out right. And
That's true.
It gets frustrating when something goes wrong.
Yeah, like I think the excitement of everybody owning their own 3D printer will pass because, and I think what will happen is people that make detail parts, such as yourself, or do you mind if I say, or mini prints?
No, that's fine.
Miniprints.com. Our buddy Bernard Helen over there at miniprints.com. So are you guys, when you get to a show, are you and Bernard, are you like throwing stuff at each other or trying to direct people away from your booth and stuff?
Well, yeah, I purposely send people over to his booths, you know, to like push them away, bring them over to us. No, I'm kidding. I've got no issue with Bernard. He does a good product. Very rarely do we overlap on things. There's, you know, very few things that he does I also do. And then on top of that, I've got the added thing of all my stuff, or not all my stuff, but a lot of my stuff is already painted and decorated and labeled. So it's, you know, he's got his niche, I've got mine, and I got no issues with Bernard.
No, and I would imagine, correct me if I'm wrong, but I am imagining as you've, you know, gone along here 3 years later, you're learning that with some guys, some other manufacturers, it's really, really easy to work with them, and it's fun to make sure that you aren't stepping on each other's toes. And then there are probably a few of them where you'd wish they'd just go away.
Oh, yeah. I can agree with every single one of those statements.
But that's all part of the learning experience.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah, and I mean, like you say, you still like to work on, you've got that beautiful modular layout. I mean, where we should tell everybody where you're located is in Salamanca, New York.
Yep.
There's a sky scorcher in Cheektowaga.
Right? Yep.
You don't know this, Kelly. You just heard me talk about it before. But there was a guy in Buffalo, the ABC station in Buffalo, and he was there for years. Irv Weinstein, and nothing made Irv happier than a fire in Cheektowaga. There was a sky scorcher in Cheektowaga. So, anyways, you're in Salamanca, which is about 60 miles south of Buffalo.
Yeah, give or take. Yep.
Yeah, give or take. And you're in an old fire station.
Yes.
Oh, wow, cool.
Yeah, and it's like huge.
You have a pole?
We do not have a pole.
Oh.
I know it's disappointing. I mean, but what's really nice is, we have about 3/4 of the building. There's another quarter of the building that we don't rent, but the back half is where we do most of our manufacturing. And, that was the former, it was a bingo hall basically. But then the front half, we've got three three garage bays that are all one big open room. So that's where I'm going to say it's the club, but it's basically me, my brother, and like two other guys work on this thing.
Okay, so it's supposed to be part of a local club.
Yeah.
But it's you guys, and which is not unusual. And what if it was a club, what would it be called?
Twin Tier Model Railroaders, and there is a Facebook page for that as well.
Oh, okay. All right. Twin Tier Model Railroaders. Should I take the time to look it up, Kelly?
I mean, if you'd like.
Well, it's just that me and being on the internet while I'm doing a podcast, it doesn't, there's, what we need here, don't you, Kelly?
Yeah, Bruce.
No. No. We need elevator music.
Oh, elevator music. Yeah. I'm.
Oh, it's private. Why is it private?
Why is it? It's private.
Yeah.
Hold on a second.
Twin Tier Model Railroaders, Western New York and Pennsylvania.
Hold on a second.
And it's got a picture of the Summit Line or something. Line.
Shawmut. Just tell you what, join it, and I'll approve you real quick.
All right, there I join. I'm joining. Why do people keep everything private? I don't understand that. There's not that many trollers out there.
I don't know. It's the other admin made it like that. Okay. So there's a couple things that people will post from their own stuff, but
the other day, I don't know, about 3 weeks ago, I started getting those messages. I got 2 or 3 of them. You've been hacked on Facebook, and it was from legitimate messages from friends. And I'm like, am I doing anything interesting? It's like I've given up worrying about whether I'm being hacked on Facebook because they're gonna do it, and you get 2 or 3 people see me, and it's like I sent you sent another friend request. Did you accept it? Do you want to be my friend? Why didn't you accept it? Okay, so there it is, Twin Tier Model Railroaders.
Yeah, we haven't posted much about the layout in a little while.
No.
But
how big is that layout?
So it's L-shaped, and we've got a couple return loops on the ends. So it's, what's that end up being? Roughly, I'm going to say 35 by 30-ish, give or take.
Okay, it's pretty big, but it's really well built. Yeah. It's like really well built.
Yeah, it's all Fremo standard.
Okay.
So it's birch plywood. Everything is, it's a little bit heavy, but at the same time, it's very sturdy.
Yeah.
Until we moved in here, it sat in my trailer in the winter and in the summer, and that thing, it's still perfectly square, well, not perfect, but it sits flat on the floor. There's no warpage or anything to it.
And that probably getting it out of there and getting it set up is helping keep the activity up for the guys that are involved. And you might grab a few more people once they see that it's got a semi-permanent home.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah, and we have at least one of the guys comes in pretty much every Friday night. And he's actually Gabe is actually one of my employees' boyfriends, so okay. he's here. And he's
well, let me tell you something. He ain't coming in there to work on the model railroad.
No, actually, he is. Yeah, he is. Believe me, he is. There's days that he's sitting there working on the layout, and Kira's like, "Hey, can we go?" Yeah, give me a couple minutes.
Now I've offended somebody else. Now somebody else is offended.
Yeah, who cares?
All right, let's talk about this other thing you got going.
The wandering Erie.
the 100-ton green thing.
Yeah, the 100-ton green thing.
Yeah.
So you personally, by yourself, own Erie 1. Is that correct? Is that what it was?
Kind of, yes. I bought it, but I did form a group that owns it. It's a 501c3, so basically all my money can be deducted that I donate. Okay. But yeah, there technically is a group that owns the car, but everyone knows it's my car.
So who's in this group?
Let's see. I am the president, the vice president, the secretary, the treasurer.
Okay.
Um,
So it's a small group.
It's a very small group.
Yeah.
No, I've got a couple friends. One out in Indiana, my friend Brian, and then my friend Tim from St. Louis. They've been helping for the past 6-7 years working on the car. And then another guy kind of started helping out the past couple of years. But now that it's back closer, actually Gabe, who I mentioned on, that comes in to work on the layout, him and a bunch of the guys he knows, they all want to go work on it. So it's going to go up to maybe 5 or 6 people working on the car.
Wow, which is good.
Yeah, that's great because it's not only is it much closer, I can actually go work on it regularly. I'll have a lot more guys coming to work on it regularly. It used to be out in Indiana. It was a 10-hour drive out, 10-hour drive back. Now it's 2 hours out, 2 hours back. I can actually get up in the morning, go out, put in a decent day's work, and then still come home.
Okay. So I found a page called Erie Business Car Society.
Yep.
And that's on Facebook.
So what made you take it out? Well, you took it out to Ohio, or you brought it back from Indiana and then ended up in Ohio?
It was in Indiana when I bought it.
Okay, right.
Had absolutely no business being there, but it was donated to the French Lick Scenic Railroad in 1990.
Mm-hmm.
And since it was, like I said, had absolutely no business being there, they basically ignored it until I bought it. So, it started the pandemic. Well, right before the pandemic started, I had somebody contracted to do the wheels, the bearings, and the brakes. And through the pandemic, they kind of worked as they could.
Mm-hmm.
And then beginning of this year, it was, the French Lick Scenic said, get it out. We want it out of here.
Right.
I was like, all right. So they gave me till beginning of April 1st, I think, to get it out. And what they did was they said, if you get it out by then, we're going to ignore all your back storage fees.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that was, which basically was about $10,000 of storage fees.
Wow.
Yeah. So I got everybody on it. We did not make it, but some things happened right at the beginning of April that everybody was like, all right, you're good to go. Just we're good. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Because they, like I said, I was ready. We were waiting for NS to inspect it. And then they had a derailment, so we couldn't even get the car out anyways. So yeah, it was this whole big mess of things. They said, don't worry about it. It's good.
And then eventually you started so how hard was it so let's tell everybody how you ended up with this car and what car is it? I know you've been on the show before and you've listened to all the podcasts and some of them twice, but
of course, sometimes 3.
Exactly. But let's go back, wavy lines. Let's go back to how did you, what car is it exactly? It's Erie 1. You keep referring to it as Erie 1.
Yep. So it's Erie Railroad number 1. It's the only steel business car built specifically for the Erie. All the other steel business cars they had were built for other railroads and purchased secondhand. So then it would have been, at least when it was number 1, it was the president's car, the president of the railroad's car. So yeah, so that's because it did change numbers briefly in the 40s, but we don't talk about that. So yeah, it was the president's car, and it was up until 1960 it became EL, Erie Lackawanna 1, and then in the early 70s, 71, 72, it was sold into private ownership. He bought it, and he was living in it kind of as a vacation home until it was sitting in Warwick, New York, right when Conrail took over. They basically said, get it out. So it ended up going up to New Hampshire to the Conway Scenic Railroad. From there, it started changing hands, and and then it started moving around a little bit, mainly in I moved down to New Jersey. It moved around New Jersey a couple times. And then in 1990, it got shipped out to Indiana and donated.
And how did you
and it sat there.
How did you find it?
It was dumb luck. It was absolute dumb luck. So I decided when I was in college, I wanted a train car someday. And I decided, okay, I want an Erie car because I'm an Erie Railroad fan and had to have a platform. And I figured, well, why would you get anything but number one? So I just kind of went on with life. And then one day I saw a picture online. I'd kind of heard rumors that it was down in French Lick. And I found a picture online that was of it and another car. And I started, looking at windows and everything like that. And I was like, that really looks like it. That really looks like it is. And so my friend Brian lived about an hour away. So when I talked to him, I said, all right, next time I come visit, we're going to go down, see this car, see if it is Erie 1. So we went down. That was in 2013. And we confirmed it was Erie 1. And then I said, all right, started to scheme how I was going to buy this car. So then in late 2015, he just happened to be talking to somebody on the museum's board. And he said, hey, what are you guys doing with that car? And they said, nothing. He goes, would you guys be willing to sell it? And he goes, absolutely. So it just kind of went from there. I contacted him. I contacted the GM of the railroad there. And I went and looked at it in early 2016 and then sent them my money.
So it was in French Lick in 2016.
Yes. Yep.
Just kind of rotting away.
You say rotting, but it's rotting, yes, but at the same time, the car is in remarkable condition,
right? For
having been neglected for 26 years until I took it over.
Wow! And when you say it's a steel car, like, was that a big? Just so people know a little bit more about passenger cars. When they started making them from steel, like, was that a big deal? Like, when would that have happened or occurred that steel became a thing?
Early 1900s. The thing is, Erie had some wooden business cars, or wood frame, the trusses, all that type of stuff.
Okay.
When it came to the steel cars, which, like I said, would have been early 1900s when they started switching over. They had the wood cars, but then they had steel on the outside.
Okay.
And then eventually became steel frame, steel everything. And a lot of that's because of safety.
Sure.
You can't even haul a wood car now on the railroad.
Right.
Or at least class ones and everything.
Exactly, because it's a safety thing.
Yeah. Yep.
So then you bought it in, what'd you say, 2016?
2016.
So then you had to get it to a point where it was movable.
Yes, it was all plain bearings, which it was basically just a shaft with a sleeve, and then you had the oil in the oil. The journal boxes would oil the wheels the whole way around, whole way on the trip.
Right.
And then obviously you have to add your journal oil and everything.
Obviously.
But now it's got the roller bearings, so you don't have to do that.
Yeah, I like how you talk to me like as if I know what you're talking about. That's always.
I just don't want to dumb it down for you. I don't want you to feel like I'm talking down to you.
That sounds to me like, I know you don't want to talk actual figures, but that sounds to me like an enormous. That somehow that sounds to me like replacing the bearings and the journals and the axles and the wheels and all that stuff. That sounds like it would have cost a lot of money.
It did. It was. I will say I don't even have a number. I don't have an exact number of what I've spent on this car.
Okay.
Or I should say what we've spent on this car, because some other people have put money in.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. But we've got about $100,000 into this car at this point.
Okay. Can I ask you a real blunt question?
Absolutely.
I asked Dave a blunt question on the podcast that was released today, and it seems to be a wild hit that everybody really liked it. So I thought, well, that's just gonna encourage me to ask more blunt questions as I go along. Mm-hmm. So this is a blunt question, and it's asked in the same way. The blunt question I asked Dave was, If a guy who loves model railroading as much as he did, why did he buy the house he did? Because it wasn't particularly suited to a model railroad, but he gave a great answer. So my question to you is, do you have a realistic hope of getting this car done? Like, can you try to be honest with me? Because you see guys getting involved in these things and you're thinking, this is never going to happen in a million years. And yet I really like you and I have no problem having dinner together, shooting the poop and being good friends. So I would love to ride on this car, but you've got to get it to a point where it's actually feasible. Because I can't imagine when you moved it from French Lick to wherever it is now, I can't imagine you were allowed to ride on it.
I rode it from French Lick down to Jasper, Indiana. So I rode it about 25 miles.
Okay, but that was a thrill of a lifetime.
Yeah, it was. It absolutely was. It's, and honestly, up until late March, I had never seen the car move with my own eyes.
Wow.
Yeah, because every time it was, I'd get there, it was tucked away in some part of the yard. I'd haul all my stuff out there. I'd work on the car, and then I'd haul it all back and leave. And then when I came back in another month, I always played the game of where's my car now? Because they had to move stuff around every now and then. So, which no big deal. But then of course, even when they did the wheels and bearings, they took it into the shop. But I wasn't there when they did it because I was still on my way out. So we're sitting there, we had been moved up to the shop. Once again, I wasn't there yet when they did it, but they had pushed it far enough in that it was blocking. They couldn't get a truck through. Yeah. So they moved it about 20 feet while I was sitting there finally. So I finally got to see it move. I had seen videos, the guys that were working on the bearings and everything, they took some videos for me. And then the guy that I initially contacted at that museum, he had taken some video when they were moving it around at one point. Right. But other than that, I had never seen it moving. So yeah, when I actually got to ride it for, those 23, 4, whatever miles, it was, Brian, my friend Brian and I, we had the time of our lives. It was just awesome to say, hey, this is my car.
Yeah. Like, no kidding. Like even riding at 25 miles and knowing it's your car, it just must have been.
Yep. Yeah. It was just, there's so many pictures and videos that we took that we probably really shouldn't post anywhere of us just doing goofy things because we were having a great time. But yeah, no, we're both excited the whole time. We got down to Jasper. They parked the car for a little while and then it's like, all right, well.
And who hauled it? Who hauled the car?
So French Lick to Jasper, it was. This is kind of a complicated answer. It was the same people, but French Lick to Jasper was the French Lick Scenic.
Okay.
They stopped. They pushed it into a siding, and then about 5 days later, they came in with a whole different set of equipment and picked it up to take it down to Norfolk Southern, because that section of track was Dubois County Railroad.
All right.
And it's all run by the same people, and it's just how things fall on paper. It's kind of weird, but whatever. And then from Huntingburg, it was Norfolk Southern all the way to, well, eventually to Carson, where it is right now.
That must be almost a mind-numbing experience trying to get the. Would you say Norfolk or CSX?
Norfolk Southern.
It must have been like a mind-numbing experience trying to get them to finally agree to move your car.
Honestly, getting them to agree to move it was no issue. It was getting them to actually do something and move it. That was the big issue.
Really?
Because all I needed to do. Actually, somebody that listens to the podcast, Justin Sobek, he organized everything with NS initially.
Oh, really?
Yep. He said this is the first time I've given an AML discount for a car movement.
Justin Sobek. So we gotta talk to him then.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. So he got everything sorted with Norfolk Southern initially. Norfolk Southern
So
needed to come in
can
and
I
sorry,
cut
go
you?
on.
Can I cut you off here?
You just did anyway, so
Yeah, I
I guess
did.
so.
Yeah, I guess I did. Boy, someday,
All
Kelly?
good.
Someday, Kelly, when we get good at this, won't it be exciting?
Oh yeah.
That's never going to happen.
I love that. I love that enthusiasm.
Yes, I know. I'm looking at the Facebook page, the Erie Business Car Society. Is that?
Yeah, that's
Yep.
it. So,
That's it. So
go ahead. You saying?
I was going to ask the question. There was a shot of the number one. Let me see if I can get it up in North Conway in 1977.
Yes. So, like I think I said before,
It's changed hands so many times.
yeah. So, it actually moved to North Conway under the first private owner.
Okay.
When it was there, I want to say, yeah, the exact dates are kind of sketchy, but I'm thinking late 70s, very early 80s. It changed hands from that guy to a guy named Peter Tilp, who he's pretty big in the or was pretty big in the passenger car restoration or passenger car ownership world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he started doing some restoration to it. Because he actually, a lot of stuff came out of the car. I was told by the next guy that owned it that at one point the dining room table, different chairs, all sorts of stuff was in his house. But I guess he ran into some financial difficulties, and all of that stuff was lost, which is very sad to me. But then the next guy purchased it. I'm sure he told me when he bought it, but I can't remember right now. Al Nippert bought it, and then
Al Nippert
owned it for Nippert, Nippert. Nippert.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Okay. So you say Justin Sobeck helped you get it organized to get on the railroad?
Yes. Yep.
And what does he do for a living?
I don't actually know.
So how did he get involved?
So I know. So he does. That's one of he does do that. At least as a side gig.
Do what? Organize
the car movements. Yes.
Oh, okay. I wonder how that works.
Yeah.
Well, and how did you meet him?
I've never actually met him.
Well,
but,
okay. How did you start conversing? Have you've met him digitally
via Facebook and digitally we've met. So he, I think he was suggested to me at one point, early on in my car ownership to, talk to this guy if you ever need to move the car. So I friended him, and then when the time came, I was like, all right, it's time to use this contact now.
And so you knew him before you guys made the AML connection?
Yes. Yep. I didn't even realize he was part of the AML until he mentioned that, and he told me how much, and he goes, and if maybe would you be willing to send me some N-scale stuff? I was like, sure. So I got the AML discount, and he got an AML discount, I guess.
Oh, perfect.
So, yep.
How much exactly is the AML discount? Do we know?
I could look it up. I think it was for that, I think it was a couple $100.
Wow.
So, yeah.
And considering the order was only $260, that's a decent discount.
Yeah, it's a great discount. Yeah.
So
I've got a hookup.
So let's go back to my original question.
Which was, I forget now.
Would you feel like you have a legitimate shot of ever getting this car to a point where it's like almost finished? Like what I'm assuming, because the picture at the top of the Facebook page, it looks like it's in really good shape from the outside. It looks like it's been painted or cleaned or something.
That one is from 1963.
Really?
Yes, that's 1963 in Hoboken.
So why don't you put a picture of it in its current condition up there?
I just haven't gotten around to it.
Right. What's the one?
The one on June 1st.
Jasper, in April 25th.
Yeah,
What's that?
no. I guess I'm looking at the wrong picture. The picture I'm looking at is from June 1st. We made it home, going over the car and checking the condition now. Like, I mean, it looks a lot better. It looks a lot better than the picture from Hoboken, I can tell you.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that.
I would.
It just looks, it's freshly painted.
So it's been freshly painted. Yeah, it was freshly painted on June 1st. I mean, that. So
there's a nice shot. There's a nice shot in Jasper, Indiana on April 25th. It's a May 15th post. Of it.
So who painted it?
I did.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah. What happened is I needed, so if you look down further.
Stop.
Okay.
Now you're starting to irritate me.
It's just starting? I'm finally starting? Come on.
You painted, how long is this? A 60-foot passenger car?
Just shy of 84 feet.
You painted an 84-foot passenger car?
Yeah.
Wow.
Holy mackerel.
So, I can see that down December 19th, 2020, there's a picture of the car, it being I guess working on the trucks.
Yeah.
And you can see the condition of the car.
Did you use a Badger airbrush?
Yes, that and all the oh shoot. What's the one that just went out? My not scale coat. Yeah, scale coat.
Okay, so you use scale coat paint, and did you get the 2-ounce bottles or the 1-ounce bottles?
1-ounce bottles.
1-ounce bottles. 1-ounce bottles. Yeah.
and a hair dryer.
Yeah,
with a 100-foot extension cord.
Yes.
Oh God.
Actually, this is I used, it's a PPG paint. It's what we use to paint our stuff here at JL. It's a bit more of an industrial type paint.
Okay.
So and I shouldn't admit this. I rolled it because I never intended to paint the full thing.
You painted it?
Yes. So it started off.
Holy mackerel! It looks spectacular.
It does. I'm like, even when if you're standing at it and you start looking really close, it's like, okay, yeah, it got rolled. But when you're standing back at the tracks and it's going by, that thing looks phenomenal.
Yeah.
And that was really the intent when I started doing it, or when I ended up painting the whole thing. But when I first started, I was just gonna paint some squares to get the stenciling on that I needed.
Yeah.
And I got about a big section done, and I was like, oh, this looks so good. And I look, and I've still got a ton of paint, and I got more paint at home. I'm doing it. So I finished up with that paint that I had, and then I had more time, so I had made a trip home, but in the meantime, got the other color I needed, so I went back and I finished painting it.
And like, how many hours do you think it took you roughly?
Let's see. So that was probably a day. That was a day. 2.5 to 3 days.
Wow.
Maybe,
So say 3 days, 3 regular working days.
Yeah.
And you painted a whole car, and you had to paint it you had painted it 2-tone.
2-tone green, yep.
Wow.
Yep.
So,
and then all the stenciling is all cut from vinyl.
Oh, is it all cut from vinyl? Because the stenciling looks great.
Oh yeah, it's amazing. So one of my employees, she has a Cricut.
Yeah.
So she brought that in. I said, okay, I need this information. I need this. I need this. I need this. And then like the Erie, the big Erie letters on the top letterboard, I actually cut that on our laser cutter because it would not fit in the Cricut.
The Cricut is some sort of a...
Oh yeah, it's like a kind of a craft thing where where you
cutter.
Yeah.
Cuts the paper, vinyl, whatever.
Yeah.
With a knife.
Yep.
So can we go back to Norfolk Southern? Like, it wasn't a big hassle to get them to agree to move this thing? Because I thought, like, moving old rail cars has become almost... I thought moving private rail cars has become almost it's become much more difficult. And now, so there wasn't a big somebody had to come and inspect it and blah blah blah.
Yeah,
blah, blah.
so somebody came to inspect it. They came up from Louisville, and actually the phone call I got when it would pass its inspection, it was he goes, just so you know, it passed. There's he told me about one thing that he thought, and he goes, but that's not a big deal. I don't even remember what it is now, but he said that car looks nicer than most of the passenger cars I've ever seen.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's so yeah, that car, it's like I said, fresh bearings, fresh wheels, new brakes. It's when it hit NS, it was probably better mechanically than 90% of the cars on the railroad.
And why isn't it somewhere near your home?
I wanted originally to bring it to Salamanca.
Right.
And we had planned on having track in and everything.
Oh, that's right. The museum doesn't have a connection to the outside world.
Correct. Yep. And then so we tried. We were working on it. Things happened with COVID, and everything's got pushed back. I talked to the local railroad here, and they were changing presidents and everything. And the new president, he's like, "Yeah, no way, this is happening." It's like, all right. So,
isn't it kind of weird, eh? Like it depends on who the guy is at the time, and with each railroad and everything you go to do. If the president's like not easy to deal with, everything comes to a grinding halt. And other railroads, the president, you'll hear rail fans say, "Oh, those guys are great. You can crawl all over it," and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, because if it was up to the GM, she would have been like, "Yeah, do whatever you want. Where you want to put it, yeah, that's fine. We'll do that." But when the new president took over, we were just kind of like, I don't know, let's see, and it became apparent pretty quick that he didn't want to play with us. So
I think your microphone's moved down a little bit or over a little bit.
Do you need me to move? Oh, it did. It got to the bottom of my nose. Here, hold on. Let me push it back into my nostril. Is that better?
Yeah, do that.
Okay.
Yeah, just keep it there. Just use one of those tie straps and just strap it in there.
Oh yeah, I might have some zip ties or something.
Zip ties, yeah. Were you going to say something, Kelly?
Oh, I was just saying, I'm looking at the picture of it being transported, and it must have been fun trying to find out where it is and follow it. If you had...
I had a GPS tracker on it.
I keep thinking of Chris Wayman out there, if he'd been doing one of his videos somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Chris, how you doing? He'd be doing a video somewhere, and all of a sudden this Erie 1 passenger car goes by. Like, there's got to be some rail fans out there that saw it when we're just kind of going,
yeah.
Did you see that?
Did it get it?
It did get that. It got that treatment. It hid it, from Huntingburg down to Louisville. There is one, somebody picked up on it on train orders, and not a whole lot was said. And then Louisville up to I'm going to say Columbus. Somebody caught it in Cincinnati, in the Cincinnati area, and they posted it on Facebook. And I'm still trying to get into that group, but still not a whole lot was said. Once it hit Marion, it was just like, Marion, Ohio. Everybody, it went by a webcam, and all of a sudden it's just like, oh my God, what's going on?
Did Virtual Railfan pick it up anywhere? Did it go through anywhere?
It didn't go by any Virtual Railfan cams. It went by Marion is a rail stream cam.
Yeah.
And then it went past the camera at the Lakeshore Railroad Museum in Northeast 4 times.
Yeah,
so,
4 times. Oh,
yeah.
How come I went by 4 times?
Do you want the me to be nice about it, or do you want me to be blunt?
Let's be blunt. Let's go with blunt.
Because of stupidity.
Okay.
Absolute stupidity.
They forgot to scan the barcode.
Well, I think it was more. It was either laziness or a combination of laziness and we didn't realize it was there.
Oh, jeez.
Because it was supposed to be dropped in Conneaut. So it went from Bellevue through Conneaut. I was actually driving. I was pacing it through the yard in Conneaut, thinking, "All right, when are they going to stop? When are they going to stop?" They get to the other side of Conneaut, and it just keeps going.
Oh,
I was like,
geez.
what is going on? So I caught up with it just over the state line, and saw the head end, and they were changing crews. I was like, all right, well, let's go see if I can find the end. And I got to another cross, and I was like, okay, there's my car sitting there. And we sat there for a while. I was like, maybe they're gonna push back. Maybe I don't know what's going on. All of a sudden, my car just started moving east again, and it went all the way into Buffalo.
Oh my God.
So then, Buffalo, they realized what happened. It got turned around and came and went back. And so I followed it back. That was the next night, I believe. So it came into Conneaut, and that was the same night that the PA was coming east.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So my car got to Conneaut about 45 minutes before the PA did. So
That's the nickel plate that came out of the Oregon Rail Museum in Portland. That what's his name? Blah 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 blah. I keep
Delaware Delaware Lackawanna with David Monteverde and Michael Thomas.
Yeah.
And what that was a PA locomotive?
Yes. Yeah. Yep. It's the one that Doyle.
Yeah. That's
yeah. The one Doyle got restored to the point that it is now.
Doyle
Doyle
who?
Doyle McCormick.
Okay.
Yes.
And that was the engine that Rapido scanned for their PA.
Oh, okay. So somehow the Erie car and the PA car saw each other.
Kind of, yeah. So I got there, saw my car go through, and there's a whole bunch of rail fans there. I knew what was going on, and they said, Michael Thomas was there. He goes, "Oh, it's about 45 minutes out." It's like, all right, I'll stay and I'll watch it. Why not?
Who's Michael Thomas?
He's one of the owners of Delaware Lackawanna and the new owners of that PA.
The Delaware Lackawanna Railroad, the one with the Alcos?
All the Alcos down in Scranton, yep.
He seems like he's not a bad guy.
Yeah, he's all right. He's a pretty good guy.
All right. Any chance you were going to store it there?
There was some thought about doing that, and there was a point where his partner, David Monteverde, he did offer at one point, but I was like, it's just too far away.
Okay.
Yeah. Too far away because it's about a 5 to 6 hour drive to get down there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I was like, it'd be safe there. It'd be taken care of, but I was like, it's just a little too far.
Let's go way off topic. So the Delaware Lackawanna Railroad is owned by Genesee and Wyoming, isn't it?
No,
it's independent. No. Oh, it's Genesee Valley. It's independently owned.
Yes, Genesee Valley Transportation. So they own Delaware Lackawanna, Depew, Lancaster, Western.
Right.
And then there's another one too. I can't think of it. It's kind of near Utica, I think.
Okay. Well, the Depew one that must be near you.
Yeah, that one's that's up in Buffalo area.
You should have stored it there.
Yeah, the couple places he offered, I wasn't too thrilled about.
Oh, like they were rough neighborhoods?
They were, yeah. It was very visible.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And it was visible and no one would be around, I should say. Because where it's going to be very visible too.
Oh, is it?
It'll be very visible, but it's right next to the county, not county building, but the county garages. And there's a couple other businesses right around there. So I'm pretty comfortable where it's going to be going.
Oh, okay. The county line. It's near the county line.
No.
What a fascinating story. So can I go back to my question?
Sure.
So what do you feel like the chances are that you're actually going to get this to an actual usable point?
Do you want me to answer it, or do you want us to go off on another tangent?
No,
first?
I think I'm interested. I'm interested because, number one, I'd love to ride on it someday, but of course, I'm older than you, so you got to kind of pick up the pace here.
Yep. No, we do.
And I mean, it's obviously a labor of love.
Mm-hmm.
You've been working on it now for roughly 5 to 6 years.
7.
You got $100,000 into the thing. Mm-hmm. I'm assuming it's going to be at least another couple of $100 to get it finished.
I figure maybe 200 to 300.
Really?
Yeah. No, it's
no. Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm just being a smartass.
Oh, okay.
But honestly, I think it's closer than you would think.
Okay.
So we started doing the.
I'm sorry. I'm interrupting you, which is completely wrong for a podcast. But I learned how to do. I learned how to do podcasting from Kelly. So
yeah, that's right. Lionel, I think the chances are better you being riding in it than doing the qualified lap at Indianapolis.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think so.
Seriously?
Yeah, I think the chances are better.
That's awfully mean to say to him.
Yeah.
No, it's not mean. I'm just saying.
Do we have to be honest? Like, can I not just live in my? Can I not just live in my dream?
Okay, you can live in your dream. I'm sorry. Yeah. I apologize.
I'm telling you, living in a delusional world is so much fun.
Yeah. It's much more convenient.
That's right.
So I'm assuming you want to return the interior to somewhat the original form.
Generally, yeah. It's it would have been carpet. We're toying with a couple different ideas. The floor really does need to be replaced. And there, it's a concrete floor with a layer of wood and insulation and then steel. And that steel on the bottom it's getting bad enough, and there's enough areas that are bad that at least those areas need to be replaced. But if I'm going to do it, I may as well do everything right now.
Yeah,
because it's far enough apart at this point. It makes sense to just do the whole thing. And otherwise, I'm going to do this section and then finish the car and then say, well, maybe I need to tear this up and do this section, and then
do it right.
Yeah, we're just going to do it right now.
So it would have you going to replace the whole floor? Or?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the way to do it.
So we'll put down steel.
So you have to take everything off the bottom of the car?
No. So all that stuff that's hanging from the bottom of the car is actually hanging from all the steel structure.
Okay.
All the steel for the floor sits on top of the steel structure.
Oh, okay. So
the frame, the chassis is in good condition.
Oh yes, yeah. There's
so you're replacing the plate and the concrete.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah.
Did you hire somebody to come, or did you have somebody come and look at it before you actually purchased it, so that you knew you weren't getting even? No, of course not.
No. So it was one of those things like, this is the car I want. And I went and I looked at it and I go, okay, yeah, it looks okay. It doesn't look bad. Bought it. And then when it came time to do the wheels and bearings, I got my friend Charlie, who runs East Tennessee Rail Car. He came up, he looked at it to give me a price on everything. And when he crawled out from under there, first of all, it was, this car would ride like a Cadillac at 110.
Wow.
At 110?
And yeah, he goes, right now, if we did with the friction bearings, everything, he goes, if we did just did maintenance on it, it would ride like a Cadillac at 110.
110, like, what do you mean 110?
110 miles an hour.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because
but at 75 it rides like a truck, is that?
Yeah. At 75 it rides like a Yugo. No, so what happened is, because it was the president's car, I believe the castings were from 55, maybe 56. The center bolster, which is usually about a foot in diameter, they put these much larger bolsters in, which are like 2 foot in diameter.
Oh wow.
And then they have all this anti-sway stuff in there. Huh. So and I will attest, even on the terrible track that French Lick has, I stood there and I didn't feel a single bump the whole way.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you ride on the platform most of the way?
We rode on the platform for a while, and then we actually, because it came down platform platform was leading, and we actually hung out the back door most of the time.
Wow.
So
now are you going to do the interior like the original floor plan, or
the floor plan is going to stay the same.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that you'll really be able to notice, it used to have steam heat along the floor.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All those steam heat pipes have been removed already.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd either have to put something in those register areas, or what I'm thinking, and I gotta see exactly how it's going to work. I want to put a radiant heat floor in.
Okay.
Since I'm pulling the full floor up, I may as well.
Yeah.
And then the registers that would have stuck out 3-4 inches, I can cut them back so they stick out about 1 inch.
Yeah.
Because there's the steel I-beam in there. That's as far as it comes out. I put the coverings back on there,
mm-hmm.
and I gain about 2 inches of floor there.
So you said it's wood, then cement, then on top of steel.
Yeah, it would be steel. There'd be wood slats with insulation, and then concrete on top.
So steel, wood slats with the insulation.
Yep.
And then concrete on top of that.
Yes.
How thick would the concrete be?
It's roughly, I'm going to say 1.5 inches to 2 inches.
And will you put that back in the concrete?
I'm contemplating what I want to do with that, because definitely it'll be the steel. If I do the radiant floor, I could go either with the concrete, or there's a plywood out there that has a lead layer in it. So I would get that weight again, and I wouldn't have to deal with concrete.
There's plywood with lead weight in it?
Yeah, there's like a layer of, so you know how plywood is layered.
Hey, right.
Yeah.
It's there's a layer of lead in it to add that weight in.
Why would they make plywood with a layer of lead in it? What applications would that be on?
Weight. Give it weight.
I wonder because there's a lot of people replacing floors in passenger cars.
I have not priced this stuff. I imagine it's outrageous. But
I would imagine so. Yeah, you're looking at least $20 a sheet for that.
Oh, at least. I'll go as high as 30.
Man, what a story. I'm glad we took the time to catch up with you, because I mean, you got a guy you're just like totally immersed in railroading.
Pretty much. It's, I look at my life and it's like I do, model trains, big trains. I do the speeders.
Yeah.
I've got a high rail truck. So like I feel very one-dimensional at times. But then a lot of my friends are like, well, no, because you work on engines on speeders and the truck. It just happens to be that they're engines for things that go on rail.
Right, of course.
How
many speeders? How many speeders you got now?
I've got 3 now.
And how many of them run?
2.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Do you have do you have an enclosed? Do you have an enclosed one? Because I've seen you with one that has canvas on the side.
None of them are enclosed yet. The one that I run most of the time, I do want to replace the cab and enclose that cab.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. That's a good idea, especially for when I come for a ride.
Exactly, yeah. So that one I want to do the enclosed cab, because it's a Franken speeder anyways. It's multiple speeders all made into one.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, the other 2, I have a southern it's a southern speeder, and it's almost completely original. So I don't want to modify that. And then the other one I have is completely original from the Erie.
I'm looking at a picture here of Franken's home. So that's your Franken speeder?
Yeah, Franken speeder. Yep.
It looks like it's in pretty good shape.
It is before I paint. Is it orange and green in that picture?
Yeah, I guess it's orange and green. It's from last October.
Okay, yeah, I painted it. I repainted it then. Let's see. Can I find, if you go back further?
Is that the one you took out to one speeder run and the thing crapped out on you and they had to tow it the whole way or something?
I haven't had it crap out that bad.
Okay.
Well,
the
9, the belt came off, or not came off, but I burnt through the belt on the first run, and I had to be pulled on the whole thing.
Okay, well that's pretty much what I just said.
Yeah. Hey, Lionel.
Yeah.
I just looked up lead-lined drywall and plywood. It's used in hospitals and doctors' office to protect, I guess, people from radiation.
From.
Okay.
And it's plywood suggested walls that require greater than a 1/4-inch thick piece of lead.
So how much is it?
You have to send for a quote.
Oh, man.
So you know what that means.
Yeah. In other words, if you're asking what the price is, you can't afford it.
That's right. That's right. So I don't know if there's much weight in that to replace the concrete, though.
Yeah, that's what I was told to use. Like I said, it's too early for me to really decide what I'm doing with it. Although
you might that'd be a lot.
If you're going to get the thing finished by the end of the summer, you better start deciding what you're going to do. Okay, let's go back to my question. We still have yet to answer the question. Do you honestly believe that you have a legitimate shot at getting this thing finished and usable so you can haul it, or you can ride it around the country?
You added the ride it around the country. Now that I have to say no. Because I do not intend to take it to Amtrak standards, and that's the only
that's
way
what you have to.
Oh, so there's more standards to meet them than what you're.
Yes, yeah, yeah. I'm not. I'm going to say I'm not as far away from Amtrak standards as I thought originally, but I would need to have the trucks rebuilt again. They'd have to be tore down, inspected, and then I could not use the wheels that I have now. I'd have to get different wheels, just because it's long story on that one. But then with Amtrak, you need all your wiring and everything, which is, we looked that up. That's like $10,000 for the wire alone.
What do you mean to hook up to MU it to a train? You mean?
Mainly for the HEP, the head-end power.
Okay.
It's 4 runs of 3 wires that are, it's actually 6 wires, but 3 of those wires are like triple-aught wire, which is, like a 1/2 inch in diameter wire. And then there's 3 other smaller wires, but just that wiring is it's an insane amount of money just for that wire.
Because it's
but then
1/2 inch thick copper.
Because it's so thick, yeah.
So
and then you need 80 some feet for each run.
Oof, jeez. Yeah. So you're not going to be running it around the country, but where are you going to be running it somewhere?
I hope to be able to run it on tourist lines. Part of when we rebuilt it, part of it was I want to be able to interchange with any railroad in the U.S.
Okay.
So that it can go to, let's say we want to take it out to Scranton, or we want to take it to Reading and Northern, or
Strasburg,
Strasburg, or anywhere, so it can go out there and we can run it there.
And you don't need to be to Amtrak standards if you're not using it for passenger service,
as long as it's not on Amtrak.
Yeah.
Oh, it's it's not on Amtrak.
The standard you have now is to have it being transported by a freight train.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
And we already meet that standard.
Right.
And if my car was better on the interior, then people would actually want to ride it.
Oh yeah.
No kidding. So, that's kind of important.
Yeah.
So what do you think your chances are of actually getting it finished to a point where it can go from scenic railroad to scenic railroad?
I think pretty good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's like I said, I got to do the floor.
You got to redo the inside as well, right? Got to
redo. Well, once we do the floor, I'm going to take all the exterior wall sheets off, the interior sheets of the exterior walls, because I want to redo all the insulation.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll put everything back on, get all that cleaned up, get it repainted, and then at the same time we'll be redo all the electrical, all the all the conduit is fine, but the wire inside we want to replace.
Right.
So there doesn't really seem to be. So it doesn't seem to be much to do at all then.
It really there's a lot to do, but it doesn't. It's really, when you really look at it, there's not a ton.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. You keep telling yourself that.
I do, because if I don't, then I'm just going to break down and
yeah. But you're making headway. Like you're making.
Oh yeah.
You're making good headway.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just in the 3 or 4 days that it sat in Jasper, we were able to rewire 2 rooms.
Oh wow.
Oh really?
Yeah. Yeah, because we took the electric panel off that was there, and we're just running off of a battery with an inverter right now.
Yeah.
But we've got the lights in the kitchen and the pantry working at this point.
And you still have to do plumbing too, right?
We'll have to do the plumbing, but that's really not as bad, because right now everything drops to the tracks.
Yeah.
But we can just hook to those and plumb from the outside.
What a story.
Yeah.
What a freaking story.
So I was looking on the Erie Society there, where the there's a troop car that you guys is that going to be part of your entourage, or is that just something that the museum is doing?
Originally, so that's my car, or Erie Business Car Society's car as well.
Oh God. Now you need an engine.
Well, who says I'm? So maybe I'm working on that,
man.
But
you're goofy.
Goofy's not the word.
No,
Goofy is not the word. Originally, the troop sleeper was going to be like the tool car, so I could work on Erie one.
Yeah,
because it does have the one door, and on the one end will go, car to car. The other one's been covered up, but it's got a nice big open area on the one end. So I was going to have a workshop in there, and then storage in the other end of the car. And since everything's kind of up in the air about getting things to Salamanca, it's just kind of sat there. I'm going to do a paint job on it here before too long, but or finish the paint job, I should say.
Right.
But yeah, cool. That's a second car that I got to decide exactly what to do with that at this point.
So how many Erie business cars are there out there?
That's a complicated question too. So there was the ones with the platforms. There were 6 of them. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, and 3 are all, well, 1 I own. Number 2 is at Delaware Lackawanna. Number 3 is in Steamtown. Now, when you get to 4, 5, and 6, things get a little funny. Because number 4, there was an original number 4, and that got sold to a couple different owners. It is now on the Vermont Railway System as the McIntyre. And number 5, and the original number 5 and number 6 were Pullman sleepers that were rebuilt. They took one of the vestibules off and put platforms on.
Okay.
Number 5, I've never seen pictures of. I don't know, have any idea where it went. Nothing. Number 6, it ended up staying with the Erie in when it became Erie Lackawanna. It actually stayed there, but eventually it got renumbered to 4. And then two. Yeah.
I found a SD40-2 chop nose.
Okay.
It's only $245,000.
Only that sounds like a steal.
Yeah, it'd be good for hauling your car around.
Yeah,
and they actually have 2 of them. So if you buy them both, they're only $235 a piece.
And he could he could probably find some AML engineers that might be able to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We would probably get Justin to help us hook them up and get them across. Yeah, get them moved.
Yeah.
All right.
Probably.
Well, I guess we're pretty much out of network time. I guess we'll have to check back in and see how it's going again.
Yeah, definitely.
What a story. What a story. Both the JL Innovative and getting the Erie one and the Troop. So are you ever going to get tracks into Salamanca?
God, I hope so.
Well, that's not the answer. Yes or no?
Yes, we are.
And
Yes.
do you think you really have a shot at that?
Sure.
Yeah, you have to go over Indian land or something, don't you?
Yes, yeah, we do. Honestly, that is the least of our concerns right now.
Okay, what's the biggest of your concerns?
Getting other people to agree to do it with us. It's money and getting some of the other railroads to play along with letting us hook back in.
Okay, for the turnout.
So do you do anything that doesn't cost several $100,000?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I think you're going to be putting the prices up on JL Innovatives. Oh, you know what? You could run it kind of like as a charity thing. Please.
Well, I could do that. Yeah.
And it's like, please buy this. Please buy this pallet jack and skid and crate for $99.95.
That's right.
Yeah.
100% of the proceeds go to
the Erie one.
The Erie Business Car Society. There we go.
Erie Business Car Society, which is actually you.
That's right. Yeah.
And do the other guys know that it's just you, or have you not? This is the first time.
Oh no, they know.
Oh, okay.
They know. It's the other guys. They've donated, and they do it because they like what I said. My delusions. They like my delusions, and they get a deduction from it too. So.
Okay. All right. What did you think, Kelly?
Wow, it's amazing, simply amazing. I mean, I can't wait to see it running. With people in it.
Yeah, that's gonna be
cool. See the interior, because I had the opportunity to ride a train that the Canadian National did for us when we had a convention, or not a convention, a conference, a meeting up in where were we? I can't remember. When I was at the fire department, and it was just amazing how they did the interiors of these cars.
I know, yeah.
All plush and everything. And it was so neat sitting down and having a lunch in the glass panels and etched glass. Oh, it's just so I can't wait to see what you do on the inside.
Yeah. That's like the Tennessee, what is it? Tennessee Valley Railway Museum or something like that.
TVRM. Yep. Yep.
What is it?
Tennessee Valley Railway Museum, TVRM.
TVRM. What did okay, last question, then we're going to leave really fast because we're chewing up too much time. What is the reporting marks on the car? What are they supposed to? It says CDPX1.
One, yes.
So what does that stand for?
I will not say exactly what it stands for, but
why not? Because
it is somebody that, well, actually it's somebody close to the project,
right?
Allowed, put it into UMLR for me.
UMLR? What's UMLR?
UMLR. I don't know what UMLR actually stands for, but it's basically like license plates for railroad cars. So there's, every railroad car has a unique UMLR number.
UMLR number. How do you spell
UMLR number? UMLER.
UMLR data specification manual.
Is there
under Rail Link? What is UMLR? I've never even heard of that. Have you ever heard of that, Kelly?
No, I just knew that the reporting mark, especially with an X, is not the railroad. It's a leasing company or a private company.
Yeah, but what's UMLR?
That's probably the
UMLR system UMLR is a source of critical data for more than 2 million pieces of North American rail, steamship, and highway equipment. The UMLR system provides secure access for equipment management and reporting tools, helping equipment owners provide high-quality data to logistics partners and customers. That makes so then you go to UMLR, a public rail. How do you get to I just put in UMLR in Google and it comes up. So that's something for everybody to learn now is UMLR.
Yep. It's the Universal Machine Language Equipment Register.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah.
And then the next one on Google is Ship CSX, UMLR search. Look up car information. Do one of the following. Select a report format type, enter a list of equipment in the equipment field, and click rail car detail. Wow. All right, we got to stop. We got to stop. It's time. It's time to stop because we got to add an introduction and a wrap up to this particular podcast.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm exhausted. How about you, Kelly?
I'm excited. I hope that Chris remembers to call the AML office and say, "Hey, Lionel, Bruce, whoever else, Kelly, everywhere.
It's ready.
Hey,
it's
ready. We want you up there."
Yep.
Yeah, it's ready. Come on, let's go.
I will fly in.
Fly in for it.
All right, Chris, that was great. You're going to be back on again. We're going to end this now, this segment, because we got, like I say, do an intro and a wrap up because I don't know where it's going to be. So your job, do you know what you got to do now?
Which one do I have to do?
We're going from this. We're jumping from this. So we need into the wrap up. So we just need you to say,
subway chimes, go.
So what did you think of that show?
You know something? You got to hand it to Chris. He's got the passion. If you want to say anything, he's got the passion about this car, and he's done a lot to get it from what shape it was in when he first got it. Rebuilding the trucks and putting new bearings in and getting it approved to travel, yada yada yada, getting paint on it. Like he's done a pile of work on this thing, and it's nice to see he's got it at a location near him where it can, be enjoyed by him and others while he keeps on working on it.
The picture I used for the cover shot for this particular one is the car went all the way to Buffalo by mistake.
Yes.
And then when it started moving back to wherever it was supposed to go, he got a picture of it just outside of Buffalo going over a bridge, and the bridge still had stenciled in the cement, Erie. So Beautiful. The Erie car is on the Erie Bridge.
Beautiful.
It's a cool shot.
Because he did mount a camera in that thing so he could follow it, and then I think he had to at some point get permission to get on and change the batteries or something like that.
Really? Where are you picking all this up? I didn't hear any of that.
I was I think if you get on the Facebook page, he talks about that he had a camera because he's got several shots looking at the train that thing was in, taken from the car. So he had a camera mounted on the car somewhere you could kind of follow and see what was going on. But then he had to get permission somewhere to get in and put new batteries in or something to that effect, if I recall.
I think you've been drinking too much. Jumping back, I don't see it. I'd have to read each post very carefully. But I didn't see any of that. But you're probably right because you're not that often wrong. So he's got plenty of videos on that page. Chris, you got to start updating your Facebook page. Come on, buddy. The last post is from, let's see. The last post is July 7th. It's time for...
It's only a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, but you need to post it more than that.
Yeah.
Look at this. Second, we have agreed to stabilize and eventually purchase both Erie 201 and Erie 1022 from AC&J, whatever, the Ashtabula, Carson, and Jefferson Railroad. As many of you know, a 1022 is probably the best surviving example of an Erie modernized heavyweight car. 201 is the baggage car and has a generator in it. Chris is, he's out of control. Chris is out of control. That's the problem.
Yeah.
He's got too much stuff. And while he's doing all this, shouldn't he have some Rapido trains?
Your fast track to model railroading fun.
Rapido trains, your fast track to model railroading fun.
That's a lot better than when we were doing the intro. During the show, I knew we took time out during the show and you were practicing. Yeah.
We were practicing. It's kind of like spring training. You got to go through all the drills again and boom, you'll be right on it.
So again, in less than 2 minutes, tell us about your trip to Great Britain.
Oh, wow. What a blast. We had some issues the first couple days. We stayed in England and there's rail strikes going on. So I had to reschedule things to account for rail strikes. But we were there. We managed to see the Greenwich Observatory, the London Eye, which is a big giant Ferris wheel. Did a cruise on the Thames. Saw the London Symphony Orchestra on a Sunday night, which is kind of cool. Rode the Severn Valley Railway one day, which is a heritage line 4 hours by train away from the London area to do that. And then we train up to Scotland. We were trained all over Scotland and just had a great time. It was a lot of fun.
Did you visit with Gordy, the president of the NMRA?
I visited Gordy and spent 3 nights at Casa Gordy on the beautiful island Bury up in Orkney, where at 1:35 in the morning, it's still not completely dark at the middle of June because that's way far north.
It is. It's way up there.
It is way up there, man.
And they're not getting the true Canadian winter feel up there because of the water. The temperature never gets that low.
Yes.
What was the one thing on your trip that sticks out to you in your memory?
I would have to say seeing the London Symphony Orchestra.
Oh, really?
And that came about because I was watching a program on Nova about building the Elizabeth Line, which is a railway that goes from Reading on the west side of London over to, I think, Maidenhead or something. I got the name wrong, but on the east side. But it goes underground through parts of London, connects with the tube at a number of spots. And the program was dealing with all the special engineering they had to put in place at Barbican, which is where the London Symphony plays, and prevent vibrations getting up into the theater. They had, the tracks are all isolated on dampers and special engineering, things like that. So I was thinking to myself, So I got online and looked up London Symphony Orchestra. Oh, look at that. June 4th, they're playing a concert. So we got online and got tickets for that. And we went, they had some violin concerto. I don't know what it was, but then they did Beethoven's Ninth Symphony, which is the choral one. They had a choir of over 100 people in there. Absolutely fantastic. It was riding the train, seeing the Glasgow murals and all the other stuff that we wanted to do and finally did. But that, to me, that's what stands out in my mind most is seeing the London Symphony Orchestra live.
Why'd you go for 6 weeks?
Because we could.
Oh, okay.
Because before, both Gina and I were working, we were restricted to July and August.
Right.
Now we're both retired, and we talked to her relatives over there, and it's the best time to come. And say, well, if you come like end of May, spend June and a bit of July, that'd be the best time because it's not real busy with tourists and stuff like that, and the weather'd be good. So indeed it was. So we spent a week in the London area, then 5 weeks up touring around Scotland.
And because your wife's relatives are from Scotland?
She has relatives on the west coast of Scotland, west of Glasgow on the Firth of Clyde. And so we spent some time with them, spent some time on our own, rode the Jacobite Express, which others will know as the Harry Potter train. And so that was a fun day. And we just had a blast. You know
where you could have gone, who you could have visited while you were there?
Who?
Rapido Trains.
Rapido Trains, your fast track to model railroading fun.
If it's N, if it's H-O, the fast track is Rapido.
Now you're sounding like Kelly. I've had 8 weeks of torture having Kelly do this, and you did it again. Rapido Trains, your fast. I say Rapido Trains. You That's say right. Your fast track to model railroading fun.
All right.
No, never mind. Forget it. We'll just do it your way from now on.
All right. Rapido Train.
Isn't seeing a symphony orchestra kind of like visiting a zoo in a different town? Here's my theory.
I don't know. I don't know, but the London Symphony is one of the world's top symphony orchestras, and I figured we had a chance to see them. Like, when am I going to have another chance to see them?
Exactly. Is it better than the Dallas Symphony Orchestra?
I have not seen the Dallas Symphony Orchestra, so I can't comment on it. But I know the Dallas Symphony has an amazing horn player who's also a model railroader.
That's for sure, and he has a beautiful layout.
His layout is going to be hosting operating sessions for the convention coming up.
Exactly, which I can't go to, which I'm very disappointed. I would really have loved to go to the Dallas convention, but I can't because for some strange and peculiar reason, I decided walking 100 kilometers or 60 miles would be a much better idea.
Absolutely.
And you know what I'm going to say when I get about a half a mile from the hospital?
What the hell was I thinking?
Every year.
Words to that effect.
Every year that happens. Every year I end up saying that.
You get the first set of lights and you're going, oh, man.
Can you give out our email address?
Yes, our email address. Please send us emails. Be kind with me because I've been away, so I don't have the full Rapido Trains things down, Pat, but next time I will. Send us an email at modlerslife@gmail.com. That's modlers with one L, modlerslife@gmail.com.
And if you didn't catch that email address, if you go to our website, amodelerslife.com, and scroll down just a little bit, you'll see a picture of the moderately agitated male boy in a particularly agitated state. We should change that picture now to, you'll see a picture of the moderately agitated male boy in a less agitated state because he's in Great Britain. We could change the picture and change our whole little ditty.
We can. We can work on that for the next session.
Yeah, we'll think about it. Well, you know what? Let's table that, and we'll bring it up at the next meeting.
Yes.
And so yeah, and also if you go to
hold on, what happens if you click on the picture of the moderate?
Oh yeah, well then you don't need to know the email address because it automatically comes up. All you got to do is fill in your subject and your text, and you're ready to hit send. And we got a ton of emails we got to answer, like a ton, like at least 2 shows worth, maybe 3 shows worth.
Well, my experience on that, it could be 3, maybe 4.
Could be depends.
And then we're backed up, and we'll be 10. And will we ever get caught up?
Oh yeah, we got caught up on email several times.
Oh, that's true. Yes,
the email is a little easier to handle. It's all the other stuff we can't handle.
You can't handle the other stuff.
Yeah. And then also, if you go to that website, if you ever want a T-shirt, a Modeler's Life T-shirt, you go to Midwest Model Railroad, and their URL is midwestmodelrr.com, and go across the navigation bar to Other, and hit then the drop-down menu. You'll see AML Shop, and boom, you click on that, and you're in a wonderland of AML merchandise: hats, hoodies, T-shirts, mugs, whatever you could possibly need. Beautiful. And then when you're done with that, you go back to the main Midwest Model Railroad site, and you know what else you can buy there?
You can buy tons of stuff there.
Rapido trains.
You are fast track to model railroading fun.
That's it, man. We're done. Oh yeah, and if you like this podcast, for just a few cents a day, you can have twice as much podcasting every week by joining our Patreon channel, and we call that our down home antics channel. It's more of a It's much more
sitting on the front porch channel.
It's a sitting on the front porch channel, just shooting the guff, answering email, talking to the regular guys, fireside chats. It's all kinds of really kind of intimate stuff. It's well worth a few cents a day.
Indeed.
All right, I think that's it.
All right.
You ready?
I'm ready.
So remember, a Modeler's Life podcast is considered marginally adequate by 6 out of 10
globetrotting mailboys.
Transportation for AML guests provided by Diamond Limousine. Diamond Limousine, where all of our vehicles are true diamonds in the rough.
It's another Lincoln Homer.
Nice. That's one of the best ever. Globetrotting mailboys. Sweet.
It's another Lincoln Homer.